a sponsorship. Pretty good day out there with the Bancorp South O line today.
Okay. You sound like a NASCAR guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, good practice. Well, we did. Interesting. Really started slow today, and kind of expected. You always do. You get into like a rhythm in training camp, and gave them a morning. Went to church this morning. Had kind of half the day off to kind of rest, and a lot of times when that happens, I think everybody realizes, the coaches, the players, everybody, that hey, I was a little bit tired. I'm out of that just go nonstop. So started slow, but I really liked how practice finished today. Some pretty good intensity out there. I guess one group step up. I thought the line's getting better, the offensive line. Which is what you want to see. I'd say I'm nowhere close to figuring out who the 5 guys we want to put on the field to start with. But some of those younger guys, you're starting to see them improve consistently, which is what we need because, we don't just need a starting 5, which we don't have set yet, but you also need at least 8. That showed pretty quickly last year when boom, boom, 2 starters go down in successive games. And so you got to have guys that are ready to play. But I think they're starting to be more comfortable, starting to be more consistent. And as a group of guys like, Justin Mullen, Damian Robinson and Sidaway and Clausel, they've played. Those 3 guys are kind of taking control. The guys that haven't played a whole lot, Ben Beckwith, is fighting for a job, looking better, and Archie Muniz. Those are the guys that really kind of stick out that are new, that aren't the guys that you already know are gonna, the guys you already know are gonna perform. Dylan Day's played the whole season. Tobias and Gabe, those guys are performing for us, and we expect them to. Even if they have an off day, they're still going to be good. But I thought that group did pretty good today. And tomorrow we just went up helmet and shoulder pads today. Tomorrow we're going to go full pads in the morning for practice, and we're going to do kind of some of our first scrimmage action. We're going to be live tackling and all that stuff tomorrow morning.
More options at offensive line, does that help in the situation a little bit more?
Well, it helps, because you want to have that depth. You want to be ready to go. And, like I said, you need 8. I'll take 10. If we got 10 ready to go, I'm going to feel great. But we got to within, I guess in 20 days, we're going to step on the field. We got to have 8 that are ready to go play live action in game situations.
You guys started discussing, possibly getting any walk-ons scholarships yet? Has that come up? Is there any space available?
Oh yeah, there are. We've done that every year. I can't tell you. I want to say probably in my 3 years here, probably about 12 to 13 kids walk-ons getting scholarships. So that we've done it. So.
Anybody?
We wait and see right before the start of school.
John talked about the tackles y'all have. He says he just got 4 tackles. Didn't know where they're going to end up. Don't you at least have a rough idea? You like to see Blaine a left tackle maybe? Or?
No. Where they end up? Well, because you got to be ready to have some swingers.
Right.
Because. Guys that can go because if your best tackle is your left tackle, and then second or third or right tackle, and fourth is your left tackle, and the one left tackle goes out, and you have a better player sitting on the bench than what's going on the field. So you got to be able to have those guys move around. So I think in his mind, he's getting those guys ready to play, and figure out who the best guys are. I wouldn't be surprised early in the season. If we were playing today, we would be playing more than 2 tackles in a game. We'd be giving guys opportunities to get in there and see in live situations in the stadium who really stands out.
How much does it, we see it every year with the junior college, you've got players you bring in, but especially on the line, have you seen it, ones like Charles Sidaway and Dylan, starting to see it slow down a little bit for them since the spring?
Absolutely. The most critical thing for those guys is graduating early. If they don't have a spring, it's a struggle. Because, Charles, it was a struggle all spring, but now, he's been through it. You know, he understands when we're teaching things, what's going on. You know, you got to think in the spring, his first day out on the practice field, he's trying to figure out the pace we're going at. You know, and you know, when we started installing an offense for him, it's like day one of Chinese class. I mean, you know, hey, okay, it's outside zone, everybody knows that, but just when you start hearing the terminologies that we use, it's different languages. So, you know, even though he had the experience with it, he's got to learn the language. But I think he's, you know, he's grown into it. He's gotten bigger. I think it was 280 something in the spring. He's 305, 310 now. So, I mean, he's kind of prepared himself ready to play in the SEC.
You go back, look at your days at Bowling Green with Urban and going around to Purdue and the likes of, and you know, going around looking at other offenses, getting ideas.
Mhm.
How much has your offense kind of changed since those days, and even from Florida to where you are now, and what you're trying to do with Tyler Russell as the quarterback?
You know, it's evolved greatly, and it evolved every step of the way, and to a point where, you know, Bowling Green, you know, the original plan was to be, you know, we used to use the term gun in huddle because we were more under center than shotgun. You know, as that continued to evolve, we ended up being more shotgun than under center. So if we wanted to go under center, we'd call under center. We used to call it gun, whatever, to tell us to go to the shotgun. You know, and then evolves into getting to Utah where you didn't have an athletic quarterback, so we went to more option football. So we could get the ball out of his hands more, you know, more options to get rid of the ball and balance out the running game, to keep people on edge. Florida, we started getting into more gap schemes, just because of the great defensive lineman that you saw in the SEC. You know, into now, and I think kind of coming full circle. You know, I think our offense now is going to be very different than all of those places, but it has part of all of those places that that we've kind of blended together to make this offense fit. You know, kind of like day one we went to Bowling Green, we went and researched all this different stuff, put all these ideas on the board, and put it together to make an offense that made sense. And we've kind of, I think, gone full circle back now. We've done the same. Now we've have some different things that we've added, but we've gone back really this offseason. I think our offensive staff's done a good job of making sure everything makes sense. You know, that we don't just run a play because that was one we did at Utah, even though it doesn't really fit into what we're doing now. We've kind of gone full circle, making sure everything fits together.
You mentioned option football at Utah. You guys, you know, probably do a little bit more of that this year with the personnel.
Option football is always going to be a part of our deal.
Right.
You know, it's always going to be part of our deal because it keeps defense honest. If you don't have to account for the quarterback, it's a lot easier to play defense. You know, so you know, you go back with Tyler, who reminds me a lot of an Alex Smith with their skill sets. You know, we threw the ball a lot. We ran the ball well and had some option football in there. And, you know, I think I've always said if you look with Alex Smith is, if you go back and everybody thought, well, I think the last year there before he went in the draft, he had 800 yards rushing that year.
Yeah.
You know, if you go look at some of those runs, I mean, he's running by himself down the sideline for 70 yards. I mean, it's not one, I don't think we called one run play up the middle for him. I mean, it was all an option, and the defense never covered the quarterback on the option. He just ran until somebody got near him and he ran out of bounds because we did. I mean, our quarterback depth there was a lot worse than it is here.
Yeah.
You know, our backup was true freshman Brian Johnson, who was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And that was it. So, you know, I mean, it was rough duty, but I mean, it just managed it that way. And so Tyler kind of fits that mode. And, you know, our option football here is not to have Tyler run the ball. It's have Tyler run the ball. If you're not going to defend him, he's going to run. I think he had a couple runs today at practice. You know,
Yeah.
they're not allowed to get near him, but there wasn't anybody near him.
I know.
I told him, I said, you know, you can, don't touch him, but you can at least get near him. You know,
Yeah.
he had his runs today, there was nobody there.
I know you don't want to get a specific play. Is there anything you remember from Bowling Green or in Florida that you remember working a lot and then people kind of caught on to and you've had
The shovel
just pick it
option
out?
to me.
Yeah.
The shovel option is a big play that.
Used it against Florida.
Uh-huh.
No worry.
We used it at Florida.
Yeah.
Used it a lot of places. It was a play, I think at Utah probably is one of the biggest ones. That we used it a lot. And It was one of those we were like the only team that ran the shovel triple option at the time. And after that first year, I think people got spooked because it was going up and down the field, I mean, it was a pretty good deal. And so I think defenses really kind of spent some time on it. And you can defend it. And what you started seeing is them defending it, making the quarterback run the ball for 4 yards. Like I said, when we run option, my goal is not to have the quarterback run for, take a pounding for a 3 or 4 yard gain. And so, with stuff like that, a lot of times what we'd always look at was if you spent enough time defending it, you weren't practicing other things. So, we'd have it in the plan, and if we ran it early in the game once or twice, and you had an answer for the shovel option, great, we'll just move on to something else. But to defend it, you had to put some time into it. And that was kind of a philosophy we took.
Coach, last week you were kind of forced outdoors for practice, or indoors toward the end of the week. And can you talk about the differences in and out, and if there's any type of limitations in performance or any
No, I mean, well, it's certainly not limitation in performance. It's actually better performance because there's no sun recovery issues outside. But for me, I've gotten much more comfortable being indoors than maybe in years past, I guess. Now it's grown on me being in the Palmero Center. So to raise the roof a couple feet for the kicking game aspects of it. But I think, and I guess just in being experienced, for me, or I don't know experience or any of that, but just my comfort level has changed going into the indoor so that I'm not, I used to be very anti going to the indoor facility, and I'm not as anti going in there as much anymore.
Tell us what the deal with Xavier Brindle is. He's back to practice.
Yeah, he was out of practice today. Went home. Like most freshmen kind of go home homesick. Mom put him in the car, drove him back out there to practice.
Did you talk to the guys at Pearl River about this whole situation, or was it?
I didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
They came in and said, hey, Xavier got in his car, went home. I talked to Melvin. He called his mom. So when I get home tonight, I'm going to meet with him. She got home that night, met with him. Got the car the next morning, drove him back up here. And he just came in. And the first thing I knew, my first discussion on it was him coming in and apologizing for leaving. So.
Was that yesterday?
He came back Saturday.
It had to been Saturday, right?
Yeah. I think he left Friday morning and came back Saturday.
Yeah.
So, I didn't talk to anybody anymore. So, I didn't even talk to Saber. Oh, you got back. It just, it's with guys like that and homesickness. Those are big family. That you need this family support, and obviously, he got some great family support at home to help him get going in the right direction with things. We're obviously going to guide kids, but that's kind of something with more the family. When it's not a football or school, any of that issue. Because the first question I asked him, you unhappy? And he's like, no. And he's just kind of like all freshmen.
So nothing. The Pearl River came up. That the coach there was saying he met with them and he was going to sign or had signed or did stuff like that and was going to be on campus. That never came up with Xavier.
Not with me.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Any kind of discipline involved, just leaving from missing a practice?
Apologizing to the team. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he stormed out or there was a big discipline issue. It just wasn't. I'm a young guy. All these freshmen. I see it with all of them. We're always on constant high alert to watch, see who the midnight runner is, the next midnight runner.
Is he still working with?
So there'll probably be another midnight runner or two before it's all said and done.
Is he still working punts and kick return and all? Or
Yeah.
guys start narrowing that down yet?
We have a lot of the freshmen we do. When we get.
Has that been narrowed down at all yet, or you guys got into that point?
I have a good idea. I have a good idea like punt returns, Banks and Bumpus. I'll be returning some punts, and Perkins and J. Mountain Lewis probably return some kicks. But the freshmen are going to have some opportunity. We give a lot of guys opportunities, but not all our return specialists are also back from last year, so I expect those guys to do a lot of it.